There's a lot to take in when you first start playing Infinite Galaxy, so in this video, we're going to give you everything you need to know in your first day of gameplay, from crew to buildings, research, bundles, and everything in between. Let's get started. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today we are going to be covering all of the good stuff in your spaceport that you need to know on your very first day, because wow, is there so much depth to this game, which I enjoy, but also there's a lot you need to know. Now, if you like Infinite Galaxy guides, then consider subscribing. Smash that subscribe button. Let me take that back. Smash the subscribe button for videos about Infinite Galaxy. Let's get started. First thing we need to start with is your command center and the buildings that you can upgrade. When you get a look here at your buildings, each of these does something different and important, and as you upgrade your buildings, you get more benefits. Some of these benefits are extremely important, but the thing I want to call your attention to is that you can have a second building queue, as you see up here. This is going to cost you 200 corium, the premium currency in the game. Yes, spend the corium, have the extra building queue. It is so worth it to have two things queued up at all times. Now, there's a lot we could talk about for each of these buildings. However, a few things I want to call your attention to is that rather than level up every building evenly, start and focus with your command center. It will always tell you what the requirements are. Push that up as high as you can, and at the same time, also work on your research center. There's a lot of really great stuff you'll get as you power that up. Let's, however, go to the next topic that I'd like to cover, which is, in fact, research. There are 4 different trees that you can work with in Infinite Galaxy. There are pros and cons to focusing in each of these. The game will give you some recommendations. However, allow me to give you a few of my own. Military tech is absolutely critical because as you work through your military tech, you can unlock new units. Those new units are more powerful and give you some huge advantage when you're actually battling. So my recommendation would be to push through this as much as you can, getting to higher and higher tiers rather than trying to max out everything in the beginning. And you can see, as an example, very near the beginning here, there's a Cerberus class frigate level 1 that we unlock. And as we go through the top, that frigate unit type will still be near the top. There's class 2 and so on. In the middle will be your destroyers, and in the bottom will be your cruisers. Focus on unlocking those new troop types. That goes a long way. In addition, as you work your way through the other research, you'll start to understand more and more what these things do, but I'll call your attention to the spaceport weapon expansion in the command tree. In the development tree, there is something really important that I think is a great starting point for using a lot of speed ups. That is going to be modularized construction, increasing your construction speed by 10%, and also the one right after it, cloud computing. Totally worth maxing both of those. I have not done a lot yet in the development tree. I've also done expanded dock, which is going to allow you to recruit more warships. Very important. I've done those pretty quickly and maxed those out, but there's not a lot else you need to do for quite some time in development. And in resources, there's very little you need to do here. Just follow the quest lines for things you need to do. We'll talk about that in just a bit. So to summarize, focus on military, unlocking new units. Perhaps start, however, making sure that you get that research speed, that building speed, and the expanded queue. And also in the command section, you're going to want that weapon expansion to defend your spaceport. So let's talk, however, about the ships that you're going to build. There are 3 different types of ships across 10 different tiers. So the 3 different sizes of ship is going to be the smallest, which is a frigate, the medium-sized ship, which is a destroyer, and then the largest ship, which is a cruiser. These offer different benefits and do different types of damage as you level them up. So, for example, the type of damage that a tier 5 cruiser is going to do is kinetic damage. But at tier 6, that's going to shift over to be laser damage. So in the beginning of the game, don't worry too much about focusing on one type of damage because you're going to keep upgrading your tiers of warships. You're going to be picking different things here. So it's premature, I think, to specialize in a damage type. Just know that they do different types of damage that will be relevant at some point, not on day one, okay? Not on day one. You're going to want to train a bunch of these, train a blend of all the different warship types. And the biggest thing is to try to keep warships training at all times, or I guess building at all times. You want these queues cranking. And let's talk, however, about what leads your warships, right? Like they don't just go into battle on their own. That is the flagship. Your flagship is what leads your fleet of ships into battle. Now, there are lots of different flagships and different tiers. You can see the lowest tier is blue, then the higher tier is purple, and the highest tier is yellow. You collect blueprints of these different ships. Once you have enough of them, you build that flagship. So when I tap the build flagship button in the bottom left, you can see, for instance, I've got 11 blueprint fragments of the Orion. I can't build it yet because in order to build it, I need to have 50. So until I have the 50, I can't build it. But once I've built them, they live in this dock. Now, from here, there is a lot you can do to power up your warships. I'll talk very briefly about what those things are. One thing you can do is modify the warship. You tap that modify button, and if you have more blueprint fragments of the ship, and enough that you can actually elevate your flagship, you've got to have all of the requirements that are listed here. You can take that flagship to the next tier of quality, and that makes everything it does better. It also has the potential to unlock new skills or to level up some of the skills that you already have unlocked, which is definitely a big deal, and you will notice the difference. In addition, you can also improve your flagships by fortifying them. Basically, you put experience onto your flagship. There is a cap, however, for the level of your flagships, so you're going to want to apply experience, but not so much that when you go do things that would give you experience, now you're capped on experience and you're losing that opportunity. You're not going to hit that on your first day, but it could be a problem in the not too distant future. So Artemis is the ship that I went in on. It is a legendary tier ship. And there is one other thing you can do, offhand, by the way, that's really easy that will power up your warships, and that is your gear. Now, the gear comes in a couple different types. If I look at a different ship, for example, that has no gear, you can see that there are some weapon slots, and there are also some defensive placements, and the number or balance of these will depend on the warship that you're choosing, or the flagship, I should say. In this case, the flagship, the Artemis, has 5 and 5. Now, these gear items, you actually craft. You craft them over here in the outfitting factory. Now, this is a really important step to powering up your warship. You want to get a bunch of stuff on your warship very, very quickly in order to power it up and actually start getting the benefit of having these different items at play. These are classified by the different types of damage that you can deal: kinetic, missile, laser. In addition, there's also the protection items all grouped together. At the start of the game, I would not say you need to worry too much about going all in on one type for some sort of optimization. Just get a blend of kinetic, missile, laser. For the protection items, just get some on there to start, and later on, you'll have a better sense of what you want to do. Now, important to keep in mind, however, is that at the green tier, which is the lowest tier, it's pretty easy to start to make these. However, once you get some of the patterns required to make some of the more advanced items and to upgrade some of those more advanced items, you can get a lot more punch. A lot more punch. I do want to mention something that was super unclear to me that you may also find yourself struggling with is, hey, Chisgule, how do I actually get the higher quality items, the blue, the purple items, in order to upgrade the higher quality things that I have built, right? So if you build some blue stuff, like how do you get the materials in order to do that? Well, one thing you can do, and I don't know if you saw where I just tapped, the outfitting depot. It's a sneaky little thing hiding right over here. If you tap on this, you actually can combine or break down materials. Now, I don't think you ever want to break stuff down. You're going to want to be combining things in order to get the more rare material. So as an example, I can take these 21 living metals. I can tap the fuse button. When I do that, I'll do this one time. That is going to take 4 green quality and give me 1 blue quality easy. You may also be wondering, hey, Chisgule, how do I even get so many of those materials to work with in the first place? Well, if you go to your depot, bottom right portion over here, tap that button, make your way over to other. There is an item called material chests. This section of your inventory is going to have a lot of goodies in it accumulating over time. You are going to want to smash your way through some of these, such as the material chests. I'll open all 10 now, and boom, ton of materials. You can get more rare materials from this as well. I've gotten some blues, so worth mentioning that you can get those out of the bat, but you're probably going to have to do some combining in order to make them. Now, between the greens and the blues, I don't actually know yet at what point a blue is better than a green based on their level, but I don't have the materials or the patterns to infinitely update some of the blues, so I'm using a blend of blue and green, and that seems to be totally fine now. We'll, of course, make a more advanced guide on all of this in a future date. Let's jump now, however, to one of the most important places where you can get those materials to be upgrading the weapon and the defensive slots on your ship, and that is the campaign. To show you exactly where I just went, by the way, that is in the upper left portion of the screen, campaign. So when I tap that, it takes me to the campaign. Now you can select the missions that you want to do. You want to make sure to get 3 yellow blips completed for each of these, 3 of the yellow ticks. Here you can see I only got 1 of the 3 objectives completed successfully on mission 411. I'll have to go back and do that again. The reason this is so important is not only do you get a first-time bonus, that is very massive when you complete these. Let me go to Chapter 5 and see if I can show you offhand. Yeah, the bonuses are really good just for completing it the first time, and it'll show you over here. You get 1 star, you get a bunch of materials. You get 2 stars, you get a bunch of materials. 3 stars, even more materials. This is so important for growing your material base. Smash your way through the campaign. In addition, you're going to start to get currency you can use in the shop. You get 1 free refresh in the shop every day. What should you be getting from this shop? I mean, on day 1, you don't need to worry about this. This is the topic of a future video for sure. I'm saving my currency until I really know what's good. However, I will say that if I see a legendary blueprint show up in here, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to always make sure I have enough of this currency that if one does show up here, I can grab it. That's the rare chase. I want to make sure that if it is here and I'm so lucky, I can actually capitalize on that, because at some point, it may be a ship that I want to use. Now, from here, there's lots of other important stuff we need to talk about as well. The next way you can power up your warships and so much more of your station is the crew. The crew is absolutely crucial, and this was certainly a little bit confusing for me at the very start. Let me explain very briefly how crew work. Crew give you different buffs. They have their own buffs that they offer, such as, you can see down here, Dispatch Mastery, giving me a fleet leadership limit. That means I can bring more ships into my army, or I guess I should say my fleet. So each of these different crew members does something different and has a valuable benefit. In addition, you can see that they've got some points over here. These points are used for a whole special set of talents that you can sort of apply to buff everything that you do. So the menu is right over here to access those, right behind my head. If I tap anywhere on that, it pulls up that special menu, and I can apply my points to different things to get those benefits. So as an example, my starting build in the beginning of the game in the command tree was to go for building speed and also research speed, because obviously I'm going to do a lot of that. And at some point, I'll reset it to do more combat-oriented stuff. You get the idea. I chose the things that I thought were going to give me the best early game start. For me, because I have the Artemis, I went with frigate upgrades, although that whole first row was kind of premature in the early game, kinetic weapon attack, and also the energy recovery. If you have a few points to put here, place them. Don't worry about it too much at the start. You can always reset it later. And if you want more points to get, if you want more of those points, which I think you do, I really feel that command is a very good starting focus for the building and research speed, then the thing you want to do is level up these different crew members. When you level up the crew members, their stats will improve. Those stats I'm talking about are the 4 different numbers: command, tech, combat, and logistics. There's other stuff you need to know about crew, like, for instance, if you have a combination of crew, they make a formation, and that gives you a bonus. But we don't need to talk about that now. This is a pretty good introduction. In order to get crew, you'll go to the Recruit Crew section, although I don't necessarily recommend using your Corium to go and do this. I will use some Corium now just to showcase it to you. I'm going to recruit 5 times. I don't know if there's a difference between 1 time or 5 times in terms of the luck that you'll get. However, we'll rip our way through this. I mostly wanted an excuse to see if I get somebody good. And perhaps one of the most important things to know about your crew is that when you get duplicates of them, it's actually really good. Duplicates of crew is a phenomenal outcome because it lets you advance the crew member. Just like you could rank up your warships, you also can rank up your crew members in addition to leveling them up. So here we got 1 blue rarity commander and 4 green. Certainly a bummer. Not worth the 900 Corium for sure. However, if I head back to my crew screen, perhaps I can show you now that you can advance these crew members. Maybe this was worth it. So for instance, I'm using Oliviera Kudrow, and she gives a spaceport construction speed bonus. Remember how I keep saying in the beginning of the game, you're doing a lot of building, a lot of researching. So I thought it'd be really good to go in on spaceport construction speed. When you have enough extra versions of their cards, which you can see here, I got 10 for unlocking her again as a duplicate, I don't have to pay anything else to smash the advance button. When I advance them, they get the next tier of bonus that they provide. So for instance, if I make my way back here, now I have 3.6% spaceport construction speed instead of 2.7. I will take it happily. That actually worked out a lot better than I thought. I don't think I can upgrade any of the other ones that I'm using. I'm still getting a sense of what the very best things will be to use here, but I feel that the research speed, spaceport construction speed, it's easy to understand why those are good. You got to upgrade your buildings. You got to upgrade your research. Yep, I'm in on some buffs that'll help me do that. Now, making our way to the next thing that'll give you a lot of buffs is your core module, listed in the very bottom. The core module is basically free buffs. So don't let this confuse you. It's confusing when you first get a look at this and it's like, holy geez, what's happening, right? There's buffs you get. This is just free buffs. Think about it that way. And it's like the level of your space station is improving. And as your space station level improves, then boom, you get these other things. And I get that the space station's a little bit different because that's like your command center level. But your core module, as it levels up, you get points, you apply them for extra buffs. Hooray, buffs. So what I would focus on in the very beginning is the development tree. And I'm actually putting more points in here. I feel like maybe I should have put more to begin with. I wanted to get the spaceport construction speed. Notice the theme here? I wanted to get, day 1, more research speed. I wanted to get more energy recovery. We'll talk about energy in just a bit. In the weapon tree, there is something you want to get right away, which is your warship building speed, 3%. Hello, yes, please. The rest of this, there's some more advanced stuff you could be thinking about, but if you want to know where to put some points in the very beginning, I think it is very safe to make your way over to Deep Planet Development. That'll give you resource gathering and all the other good stuff I thought you should get anyways along the way. In the weapon tree, I first made my way over to navigate speed 5%. 5% faster movement seems pretty good to me. I also then got the navigate speed of 10% down over here. And then I made my way to more shipbuilding speed because obviously I want more warships. So those are the things that I was hunting for, and I have not really messed around with the commander tree. I don't think you should be either. Don't think about this one yet. You get a leadership bonus over here at the start, which is going to be totally irrelevant to you because that basically says, hey, you can bring more ships to the battle, but you don't have enough ships yet to fill a fleet, so don't worry about it. That will be my recommendation. Start in development, make your way to weapon. Now, from there, there's still more to talk about. There's alliances, there's events, there's bundles. Let's start, however, by talking about your immediate surroundings in your star system. Now, in the upper left, you'll notice a little triangle with a number. That is your energy. You want to spend your energy. It's free value. The way that you spend your energy is by tapping this little radar icon in the upper right. When you tap the radar icon, bada boom, you can search for different things. You want to battle marauders. You get loot for successfully beating marauders. The game will tell you if you can beat them, As long as it's neck or neck and better, you're going to win. Hooray! So beat the Marauders and make sure that when you do that search, you're actually in the space system that your spaceport is in. Otherwise, you're searching the other system and your ship's going to fly a long way potentially when you're looking at some other system. And speaking of other systems, in the Events tab, there is a way to explore the whole galaxy. You're going to want to do this because there's a ton of good stuff to get. Now, you can see I left this alone so that I could show it to you. When you prospect different planets, you get goodies. So in this case, I investigated this migrant ship, and I have a choice. Do I want to level up my crew? That's what I chose. Or do I want the materials to upgrade my weapons and defensive capabilities of my flagship? I went with the crew experience. You'll get lots of those. These are very small amounts. However, you'll see there is an Explore Energy in the upper right. That Explore Energy is the number of times you can prospect in any one day. In a perfect world, you would do the maximum number of prospects because, well, there is value to be found every time you do it. That is a lot of searching around the galaxy, so don't worry about that too much. Just make sure you get it done. On the topic of getting things done, there are a couple things you'll notice in the bottom left. One is your development missions. By the way, what I tapped there was the missions. The development missions are going to be things related to the advancement of your account. You're going to want to claim these, but not all at once, because they're going to give you a ton of resources, which is great. But if you claim them all at once, you're going to look like a really juicy target to attack. For your first 2 days, you got a peace shield. That's fine. You'll be safe. But after that, you got to spend your resources or someone's going to come and steal them from you. So you'll claim these. The reason you want to claim these, by the way, is they give a ton of experience for your core module. Leveling up your core module gives you more stats. More stats means more good stuff. So you want to be collecting these. In addition, there are daily missions. And at the conclusion of your daily missions, you get a secret prototype device. That is the best item from the entire list in here. And yeah, it's really good. It has a chance to give you legendary blueprints for flagships. It's quite good. I've been very happy with those. You win some, you lose some on that, but you want to get that every day. In addition, you get some core module experience just for doing different things. If you want to know how to do one of these things, just hit go. You hit go, and it'll point to where you got to go next. I got to go to a campaign simulation center, and I'm supposed to rally this thing, right? So I could do that if I wanted right now. I'd get my core module experience. My alliance members would help me with that, and we'd be good to go. Oh yeah, one more set of things to collect that I forgot to talk about, and I'm editing this into the video. In the bottom left, there are chapters for the story. Make your way through the story. If you don't know what to do, what does the story tell you to do? Those are the rails, baby. They'll help you figure out, here's what you should go and do next. You don't have to stick to the rails, but the upside is that as you work your way through this and do the things that the game is asking you to do, they reward you, and rewards are actually, they're quite good for doing this. So I would strongly recommend you work your way through those chapters. The last thing I want to talk about in this video that is already much longer than I intended is very simply the bundles. Look, you don't got to buy bundles to play this game, okay? You don't got to buy the bundles to play this game, but it is certainly a pay to progress style of game. From what I have gathered so far, one of the highest value things that you can go and pick up is just the basic supplies. For a small amount of money, you get a reasonable amount of corium every single day. It seems pretty solid. I've done both of these supplies. I am spending in this game, full disclosure. However, my recommendation would be that if you're going to consider getting some of these bundles, that the thing that you focus on be speed ups. And if you're trying to figure out how good is the bundle, look at the percentage in the upper left. I'm not saying that that definitively means the bundle is just better, but it gives you a benchmark for the relative value of the cost to the amount of stuff that you're getting. And the thing that I'll encourage you to do is to focus more on the specials rather than the packs, because the packs generally have less value than the specials. That's pretty straightforward, right? These packs are for the mega whales. And if you don't know what you're doing, which I didn't in my first time playing, card up in the top if you'd like to see me exploring this thing and trying to figure out how the game works, buying some bundles and advancing my account. That's certainly a fun 4 to 5 hours of me playing through the early game. I definitely would recommend it as we go through it. It was a lot of fun. And if you'd like to join us, by the way, in our Nebula, we are in Nebula 13. We currently have several high-ranking alliances. We've got second, 4th. We've got 9th. And we may have another one in the top here. Yep, 19th. And of course, we are growing. So it's quite the large coalition we've got going on here. Yeah, you'll be a couple days behind. In fact, you may be really far behind, depending on when you're watching this video. So if you'd like to find a group to start in a Nebula together, hey, we're all going to start together, join my Discord, linked in the description, or just go to discord.gg/Chisgule. Discord.gg/Chisgule. That is going to take you to my Discord. There's going to be a section for Infinite Galaxy where groups form up, and you can have a really nice group formed up in advance before you even go into a Nebula. And the folks that are in my Discord are generally very experienced with this style of game. You're going to be in really good hands. If you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor. Throw a like on here. There's so much more to talk about with Infinite Galaxy. However, this introduction at least gets you oriented, and please make your way into a good alliance as fast as you can. That's maybe one of the most important things I haven't yet mentioned, but all of that will be topic for another video. So subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And until next time, you have fun conquering the galaxy.